What is a variable, or rather, what are variables in programming? A good way to understand what a variable is in programming is first to understand what a variable is just as a normal English word outside of the realm of programming. After a quick Google search, here is the result. So, a variable as a noun is an element, feature, or factor that is liable to vary or change. Now, if I were to get a bit more of a computer science definition for a variable, here it is. A data item that may take on more than one value during the runtime of a program. Here is what a variable looks like as a simple drawing. I try to simplify as much as possible. So let me try to explain. Each variable has a name, a value, and of course the data type. And how I try to do this is so a variable is like a container. So this box that's surrounding the value is a container, and each container can only have specific kind of things inside it. And these three lines is what I'm trying to illustrate as a funnel, or rather a filter, meaning only specific things can enter this container. So that's what the data type does. So if for example the data type for this variable was a number, an integer, sorry, and I try to assign the variable to the value of hello, it wouldn't work because this hello doesn't enter that filter, because the filter is restricted to only allow numbers inside. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. So in terms of what it looks like in actual programs, in my case I'm going to show you what it looks like in Java. So here's what variables look like in Java. I've just created three simple variables of three different data types. As you can see, they follow the same structure where there's a data type, there's a name, and there's a value. And you can see that that follows exactly what I've been showing up here. Let me just show you how those variables look like in containers. So yeah, it's not much different to what's up here. In fact, it's the same as what's up there. But that's how they look like. Not very hard to understand. So the next thing to show you is memory. Memory might be a bit of a harder one to understand because you don't really see this happening. But when a variable is declared, depending on the data type that is declared as, a chunk of memory is assigned to that variable. So for example, if we had an integer that's being declared, 32 bits of memory would be assigned to that variable. And if we had something like a long, then 64 bits, I think, would be assigned. 64 bits of memory would be assigned to that variable. And I think a better illustration of memory would be this one over here. So as you can see, the memory has different sized chunks. And of course, when we're talking about memory, we're not really going to be dealing with just 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not machine code. You would be dealing with binary when it comes to anything that goes into the depths of memory and like CPU, what the computer actually deals with. So one more thing, this name is actually is actually nothing but a reference which just points to the binary address in the memory. So that when you assign a name to a variable, it's just there to make it easier for you. So instead of like writing the actual binary address of the variable, you just write the name that you've created, and that name just points to um one of these binary locations. Forgot to mention earlier. Of course, a variable's value can change during runtime. That's what makes a variable so special. but you can stop that from happening by adding the keyword final before it in the case of Java. But there is a equivalent keyword in all languages. So this basically means I can't change the value during runtime, basically. And another thing is the reason in Java you need to, or Java and a lot of programming languages, you need to specify the data type as you're declaring the variable is because Java and things like C sharp are a statically typed programming language. And you might have something like Python, which is a dynamically typed programming language where you don't need to specify the data type, which makes it a bit more beginner friendly. That's pretty much it. Thanks.